What if I told you there's a country where moose crash Halloween parties, mail gets delivered by boat and snowmobile, and people willingly drink cocktails garnished with a human toe? Welcome to Canada, where the weather is wild, the laws are weirder, and the locals are proudly polite no matter how bizarre things get, from UFO landing pads and glowing passports to entire villages that vanish each spring. This land of frozen tundra and syrupy traditions is bursting with stories you won't believe are real. So grab a hot drink, bundle up, and get ready to explore the most mind-blowing, eyebrow-raising, and utterly Canadian facts you've never heard before. Let's go. Deep in the wild expanse of Victoria Island, Nunavut, Canada, hosts one of the world's most mind-boggling geographical oddities. A true islandception. There exists an island in a lake, on an island in a lake, on an island. This geographical curiosity, confirmed by satellite imagery and a few adventurous cartographers, exists in one of the most remote parts of the Canadian Arctic. While it may not have any structures or residents, its layered natural design has fascinated geographers and puzzle lovers for decades, making it a quietly bizarre testament to Canada's vast and complex wilderness. On the rugged coast of Newfoundland lies a town with a name that never fails to raise eyebrows: Dildo. Far from shying away from the attention, this small community has leaned into the amusement, hosting an annual event known as Dildo Days. With quirky merchandise, themed events, and even a tongue-in-cheek local mascot, the town turns its name into a source of tourism and local pride. Celebrities like Jimmy Kimmel have given it global attention, and visitors flock there to get a selfie with the dildo sign or grab a dildo souvenir. What might be an unfortunate name elsewhere has become a celebrated oddity in Canada. In a move that sounds more like satire than policy, Canada once declared war on beavers, at least unofficially. In 1951, beavers in Saskatchewan were causing massive overflooding problems by building extensive dams that disrupted waterways and farmland. The government responded by mobilizing resources to remove the dams and control the beaver population, initiating a serious and slightly comical environmental battle. While beavers are a national symbol of Canada, in this case, their natural engineering skills clashed with human development, turning the furry creature into a temporary public enemy number one. Canada isn't just the land of lakes, it's the reigning monarch of them. With over 2 million lakes scattered across its vast landscape, Canada holds more freshwater lakes than every other country on Earth combined. These lakes account for nearly 9% of the country's total area and are a vital part of its ecosystem, supporting countless species of fish, birds, and mammals. From the immense Great Lakes to small alpine gems tucked in the Rockies, these bodies of water are a defining feature of the Canadian experience, offering everything from canoe routes to crystal-clear reflections of the Northern Lights. Tucked between Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, the Bay of Fundy boasts the most extreme tides on Earth, with water levels that can rise and fall by as much as 16 meters, or about 52 feet. These dramatic shifts happen twice a day and have turned the bay into a natural wonder, drawing scientists, tourists, and adventure seekers from around the globe. The unique funnel shape of the bay amplifies the tides, creating surreal scenes where boats rest on dry seabed at low tide and float stories above it hours later. It's not just a phenomenon, it's a living, breathing, oceanic heartbeat. Churchill, Manitoba, known as the polar bear capital of the world, has a solution for when these mighty creatures wander into town: jail. Rather than euthanizing or relocating the bears far away, locals built a polar bear holding facility, affectionately nicknamed the Polar Bear Jail. Bears that repeatedly venture into town in search of food are held there for up to 30 days to discourage future visits. They're released back into the wild via helicopter or ice paths far from the human settlements. It's an innovative, humane, and very Canadian approach to wildlife management. In one of the more bizarre enforcements of air safety laws, a man in Ottawa was fined for launching a toaster tied to a helium balloon into the sky. While it might sound like a prank or performance art, Canadian aviation regulations treat any object entering airspace with strict rules. Authorities considered the airborne toaster a potential flight hazard especially if it interfered with commercial aircraft. The event became a minor viral sensation and a hilarious reminder that in Canada, even kitchen appliances need clearance to fly. As part of Canada's 1967 centennial celebration, the small town of St. Paul, Alberta, did something no other town in the world had done. They built a UFO landing pad. This concrete platform was created as a tongue-in-cheek gesture of hospitality to extraterrestrial visitors, complete with an official plaque and a tourism centre featuring alien-themed displays. While no known UFOs have actually landed there, the site remains a fun roadside attraction and a symbol of Canada's quirky, welcoming spirit, even for beings from beyond the stars. Most people don't associate deserts with Canada, but the country is home to one, albeit a small and unusual one. The Okanagan Desert in British Columbia receives just around 10 inches of rain annually, making it one of the driest regions in the country. Characterized by rolling sand dunes, sagebrush, and cacti, the region is home to many rare species of plants and animals. While it may not rival the Sahara, the Canadian desert surprises visitors with its distinct landscape and the fact that you can walk among sand and sunburn in a country known for snow. In the province of Quebec, the protection of the French language is taken very seriously, even on public signs. According to the Charter of the French Language, commonly known as Bill 101, French must be markedly predominant on all commercial signage. This means that even bilingual signs must have French text that is at least twice as large and twice as prominent as any English translation. The law reflects Quebec's strong cultural identity and efforts to preserve its francophone heritage in the face of globalization and the dominance of English in North America. Some Canadian banknotes have a secret glow that you won't notice unless you shine a UV light on them. These high-tech features are part of Canada's efforts to stay ahead in the fight against counterfeiting. Under ultraviolet light, certain sections of polymer banknotes reveal glowing numbers, hidden bars, and fluorescent patches that are invisible in normal light. This adds a futuristic twist to an already colourful currency. Besides serving as anti-fraud tools, the glowing features also make Canadian money a curiosity among collectors and travellers alike, especially those who see it light up for the first time. The Canadian $1 coin is affectionately known as the loonie, thanks to the image of a common loon that graces one of its sides. Introduced in 1987 to replace the paper dollar bill, the coin quickly became a staple of Canadian pockets and cultural identity. Its name has nothing to do with madness, though some tourists find it amusing, but rather honours the iconic bird, whose haunting call is heard on lakes across the country. The loonie was such a hit that when the $2 coin was released, Canadians naturally dubbed it the toonie. Trek fans, beam yourselves to Vulcan, Alberta, a small Canadian town that's fully embraced its coincidental name. Although it was originally named after the Roman god of fire, the rise of Star Trek culture transformed Vulcan into a sci-fi hub. The town boasts a Star Trek-themed visitor centre shaped like a spaceship, statues of characters like Spock, and even hosts Trekkie conventions. Visitors from around the globe stop by to snap photos with the iconic signs and murals. It's a perfect example of how pop culture can shape identity, especially when a town boldly goes where no other has gone before. Standing sentinel over the Newfoundland coast since 1836, the Cape Spear Lighthouse is one of Canada's oldest and most storied navigational beacons. It has been manned continuously for nearly 2 centuries, guiding ships safely through fog, storms, and the treacherous Atlantic waters. Over time, it's become a beloved symbol of resilience and maritime heritage. Not only is the lighthouse operational, but it also functions as a museum where visitors can experience the life of past lighthouse keepers. Being at Cape Spear also puts you at the easternmost point in North America, a place where the sun first kisses the continent. In the quiet town of Cerise, Manitoba, you'll find an extraordinary footbridge stretching 555 feet across the Cerise River. What makes it truly unique is that it's made entirely of swinging rope, giving pedestrians a wobbly but thrilling walk from one side to the other. Originally built in 1904 and later reconstructed after floods, the bridge is both a historical landmark and a local adventure. It sways with each step and offers views of the river below, drawing curious visitors and locals who cherish the blend of simple engineering and natural beauty. It's not for the faint of heart, but it is unforgettable. Canada's national park system is vast, so vast that one of its parks, Wood Buffalo National Park, is actually larger than the entire country of Switzerland. Covering more than 44,000 square kilometres, this remote preserve straddles Alberta and the Northwest Territories and is home to the world's largest herd of free-roaming wood bison. It also hosts the rare whooping crane and contains the world's largest inland delta. Established in 1922, the park's remote location means it's still relatively untouched, making it a haven for wildlife and one of the few places where the night sky is dark enough to see the northern lights in all their glory. Swastika, Ontario is a small Canadian town with a name that causes double takes. Founded in the early 1900s, the town was named after an ancient Sanskrit symbol that represented good luck and prosperity, long before the Nazis co-opted it for their regime. When World War II began, there were calls to change the name, but residents refused, asserting their right to keep the original meaning alive. To hell with Hitler, they reportedly said, insisting that a symbol of peace shouldn't be tainted forever. Today, the town still exists under the same name, a complex reminder of how history and symbols can evolve and clash. In one of the most whimsical and heartwarming traditions you'll find anywhere, children can send letters to Santa Claus simply by addressing them to Santa Claus, North Pole, Canada, and they'll get a reply. Managed by volunteers through Canada Post, this program receives over 1 million letters each year from around the globe. The postal elves respond in more than 30 languages, including Braille. It's a logistical marvel and a testament to Canada's holiday spirit, ensuring that magic stays alive for children everywhere. No postage is needed, just a bit of belief and a return address. During the Cold War, Canada secretly collaborated with the US on Project Iceworm, an operation that aimed to establish a covert nuclear missile base beneath the Arctic ice. While the mission itself was American-led, Canadian territory and knowledge were crucial to its logistics. The plan was ultimately scrapped due to instability in the ice, but the very fact that it was attempted reveals just how far Cold War paranoia reached. Canada's vast and frigid north was seen as the perfect spot for hidden defence initiatives, making it a silent player in one of the tensest periods of modern history. Spotted Lake, located near Osoyoos, British Columbia, is a surreal natural wonder that comes alive in summer. As the water evaporates in the heat, it reveals dozens of colourful mineral pools, each rich in magnesium, calcium and other minerals that give them their distinct hues. The lake has been considered sacred by Indigenous communities for centuries, who believe the waters have healing properties. From above, it looks like a giant mosaic or polka dot painting by nature itself. Spotted Lake is both a geological marvel and a sacred site, reminding visitors of the intricate artistry found in Earth's most unexpected corners. The first recorded UFO landing report in Canada dates all the way back to 1792, long before modern concepts of alien encounters even existed. The sighting took place in what is now known as New Brunswick, when explorers documented an unusual object in the sky that emitted light and made strange sounds before descending to the ground. Though the terminology of UFO didn't exist back then, the description matches what would later become associated with extraterrestrial phenomena. While skeptics might chalk it up to natural events or misidentification, it remains one of North America's earliest documented encounters with the unknown, and still puzzles historians today. Believe it or not, Canadian law technically allows you to challenge someone to a duel, so long as the duel doesn't result in death. While the idea sounds like it belongs in a swashbuckling novel, the criminal code once included prohibitions against dueling, which have since been relaxed to the point of technical legality under certain conditions. That said, pulling out a sword or pistol in public will still get you in serious trouble. Most of the modern references to dueling are symbolic or satirical, But the idea that you could settle a dispute with an old-fashioned challenge remains a quirky footnote in Canada's legal history. The Dempster Highway in Yukon is one of the most remote and awe-inspiring roads in North America. Stretching more than 700 kilometers through the Canadian wilderness, it crosses the Arctic Circle and remains almost entirely disconnected from the modern world. No cell phone reception, no gas stations for long stretches, and few signs of civilization. It's a journey into pure isolation, where the landscape transforms from forest to tundra, and the sky often shimmers with aurora borealis. Driving this highway is less about convenience and more about adventure, a trek that demands preparation, endurance, and a deep respect for nature's raw beauty. Nestled in British Columbia's Caribou region is a town with a name that turns heads, 100 Mile House. Originally a simple roadhouse stop during the 19th century gold rush, it got its name from its distance along the Caribou Wagon Road, exactly 100 miles from the starting point in Lillooet. Today, it's a charming community known for ranching, outdoor recreation, and a quiet pace of life. Despite the oddly specific name, residents are proud of their town's historic roots and its connection to a bygone era of exploration and survival in Canada's rugged interior. Some parts of Newfoundland are so unique that they operate in their own time zone, literally. Newfoundland Standard Time is half an hour ahead of Atlantic Standard Time, setting the province apart from every other region in North America. This half-hour difference, adopted in the early 20th century, reflects Newfoundland's historical independence before it joined Canada in 1949. The time zone adds a layer of regional identity that locals embrace, serving as a subtle but powerful reminder of the province's distinct culture, geography, and sense of independence from the rest of the country. In the Northwest Territories, during the coldest months of winter, a surreal phenomenon becomes a practical reality. You can drive across a frozen ocean. Known as ice roads, these temporary highways form on top of solid sea ice, allowing vehicles to travel between remote communities that would otherwise be inaccessible. It's a thrilling and slightly nerve-wracking experience, driving over a frozen sea with nothing but crackling ice beneath your wheels. Engineers closely monitor ice thickness to ensure safety, and the roads are marked and maintained just like conventional highways. It's one of Canada's most daring and unique transportation methods. Saskatchewan is legendary for its flatness, so much so that locals joke you can watch your dog run away for 3 days. While the joke is obviously hyperbole, it speaks to the vast, unbroken prairies that stretch endlessly across the province. With minimal elevation changes and wide open skies, Saskatchewan's landscape offers panoramic views that are both humbling and peaceful. For farmers and stargazers alike, the flatness is a blessing, offering sunsets that seem to last forever and night skies unpolluted by city lights. In a world of vertical skylines, Saskatchewan reminds us of the quiet beauty of the horizontal. Churchill, Manitoba is a town where humans and polar bears coexist, sometimes a little too closely. Because the bears frequently wander into town, residents have adopted an unusual safety practice. They leave their car doors unlocked. The idea is that if someone is suddenly approached by a bear, they can quickly hop into the nearest available vehicle to escape. It's not just neighbourly courtesy, it's a survival tactic. In Churchill, where the world's largest land predators occasionally roam the streets, open car doors can literally be the difference between life and death. Quebec is to maple syrup what champagne is to sparkling wine, practically synonymous. The province produces more than 70% of the world's maple syrup, with its vast forests of sugar maple trees tapped each spring in a tradition that dates back centuries. The process is labour-intensive and deeply seasonal, relying on the brief period when daytime temperatures rise above freezing and nights drop below. The result is liquid gold that sweetens breakfasts, desserts, and even savoury dishes. Quebec syrup is so iconic that it has even been targeted in massive syrup heists, including one infamous theft worth over $18 million. 0 cents. High in the Arctic, a tiny barren rock known as Hans Island has been the subject of an ongoing whiskey war between Canada and Denmark. The island lies between Greenland, a Danish territory, and Canada's Ellesmere Island, and both nations have claimed it since the 1970s. Rather than escalating the conflict, each side has taken a humorous approach, planting flags and leaving bottles of their national spirits behind. Canadians leave whiskey, Danes leave schnapps. Though it's technically a territorial dispute, it's become a symbol of peaceful diplomacy and one of the most good-humoured wars in geopolitical history. Every summer, the coastal city of Nanaimo, British Columbia, becomes home to one of the most eccentric races on Earth, bathtub racing. The annual event, known as the Great International World Championship Bathtub Race, sees competitors navigating custom-made motorized bathtubs across the ocean in a race that combines engineering, strategy, and pure Canadian quirk. What began in the 1960s as a publicity stunt has grown into a beloved tradition, attracting participants and spectators from around the globe. These souped-up tubs skim across the water as crowds cheer from the shores, celebrating not just speed, but the light-hearted innovation that defines Canadian community spirit. In one of Ontario's more bizarre legal leftovers, there exists a law forbidding the act of dragging a dead horse down Yonge Street on Sundays. Yonge Street, once recognised as the longest street in the world, has played a vital role in Toronto's development. But this peculiar bylaw harks back to a time when horses were the main form of transportation. Likely meant to preserve cleanliness and public decorum on the Sabbath, the law is now mostly a curiosity. While it's rarely, if ever, enforced today, it remains on the books as a humorous glimpse into Canada's historical efforts at civic order. Snag, a small community in the Yukon, holds the bone-chilling distinction of recording Canada's coldest temperature ever, 63 DCE in February 1947. That's colder than the average surface temperature on Mars. The reading was taken during a period of extreme Arctic air mass, when even the moisture in the air seemed to freeze. Locals reported that breath would freeze mid-air, and footsteps could be heard echoing for great distances because of the dense, cold air. It's a record that solidifies Canada's reputation for harsh winters and makes even the most frigid modern cold snaps seem tame by comparison. Many everyday inventions that we now take for granted actually originated in Canada, thanks to the ingenuity of its inventors. The paint roller, revolutionizing home decorating, was invented by Norman Brakey in the 1940s. The snowblower, a machine now essential to surviving Canadian winters, was invented by Arthur Sicard in 1925 in Quebec, and the humble egg carton, which has safely delivered billions of eggs worldwide, was the brainchild of Joseph Coyle from British Columbia back in 1911. These inventions showcase Canada's practical creativity, addressing real-world problems with clever, lasting solutions. Towering at 9 metres high, the giant nickel in Sudbury, Ontario, is a massive tribute to the region's rich mining heritage. Erected in 1964, the oversized coin replicates the 1951 Canadian 5-cent piece and stands proudly on a hill overlooking the city. It symbolises Sudbury's identity as a nickel mining capital and has become a popular roadside attraction for tourists and photo seekers. Beyond its novelty, the monument reminds visitors of Canada's deep ties to natural resource industries and the economic impact of mining in shaping towns like Sudbury. In the province of Quebec lies the wonderfully named town of Saint-Louis-du-Ha, notable for being the only town in the world with 2 exclamation marks in its official name. The origin of the name remains a topic of curiosity and debate. Some trace it to an old French word, ha-ha, referring to an unexpected obstacle or dead end, possibly describing the nearby lake. Regardless of its roots, the town embraces its quirky title with pride, featuring exclamation points on its signs and making tourists smile as they snap selfies in front of one of Canada's most cheerfully named communities. Deep in Alberta's Wood Buffalo National Park, Canada boasts a natural marvel so large it can be seen from space: the world's longest known beaver dam. Measuring over 850 metres in length, this incredible structure was built by generations of beavers working over decades, possibly since the 1970s. The dam creates a vast wetland ecosystem, that supports countless species of birds, fish, and mammals. Satellite images reveal the dam's enormity, and its existence highlights not only the engineering brilliance of beavers, but also the untouched wilderness that still thrives in Canada's remote regions. Each winter, Quebec City transforms into a sparkling wonderland during the Quebec Winter Carnival, one of the largest and oldest winter festivals in the world. At the heart of it all is Bonhomme Carnival, a 7-foot-tall anthropomorphic snowman who serves as the festival's beloved ambassador. Dressed in his signature red sash and toque, Bonhomme presides over events ranging from night parades and snow sculptures to ice canoe races and winter feasts. More than just a mascot, Bonhomme is a cultural icon representing the warmth, humour and resilience of Canadians who embrace the cold rather than hide from it. In a delightfully odd bit of scientific exploration, a Canadian researcher once received the Ig Nobel Prize for studying why people spill coffee while walking. The research delved into the physics of liquid oscillation and human gait, revealing how our natural walking rhythm matches the resonant frequency of coffee in a cup, making it more likely to slosh over. While the Ig Nobel Prizes are meant to celebrate research that first makes people laugh and then think, the study had real-world implications for cup design and human behaviour. It's a playful reminder that even the smallest annoyances in life are worthy of scientific curiosity. Hidden along British Columbia's rugged Pacific coast, the Great Bear Rainforest is one of the largest remaining temperate rainforests in the world. Spanning over 6.4 million hectares, this pristine wilderness is home to ancient cedar trees, grizzly bears, wolves, and the rare elusive white commode bear, often called the spirit bear. Unlike tropical rainforests, this lush region thrives in cool, wet climates, fed by ocean mist and rainfall, protected through landmark agreements between indigenous communities and conservation groups. The Great Bear Rainforest is not only a biodiversity hotspot, but also a testament to Canada's commitment to preserving its ecological treasures. Each winter in Quebec, a marvel of architecture and artistry rises from snow and ice, the Hôtel de Glace, or Ice Hotel. Located just outside Quebec City, this extraordinary structure is made entirely from ice blocks and compacted snow, complete with intricately carved furniture, translucent sculptures, and glowing ice chandeliers. Every year it's redesigned and rebuilt from scratch, offering guests the chance to sleep on beds made of ice, topped with insulating mattresses and reindeer furs, of course. Despite the sub-zero surroundings, visitors flock for weddings, overnight stays, and even cocktail nights in the ice bar. It's a fleeting fantasy world that melts away each spring, only to rise again with winter's return. In Newfoundland, moose aren't just a part of the scenery, they outnumber the people. With a population of around 110,000 moose and fewer than that many residents, it's not unusual to spot one or several along highways, trails, or even wandering near towns. Introduced to the island in the early 900s for hunting purposes, moose quickly adapted and flourished in Newfoundland's vast, forested terrain. Today, they're a cultural symbol, a source of both awe and traffic hazards, and a constant reminder that in this rugged province, nature still rules. Encounters are common, and moose crossing signs are more than just suggestions, they're survival tips. Beneath Toronto's bustling streets lies a hidden city, the Path, the world's largest underground shopping complex. Stretching over 30 kilometres, this subterranean network of walkways connects office towers, transit hubs, hotels, and over 1,200 stores and services. Originally created to help pedestrians avoid harsh Canadian winters, the Path has become a thriving urban maze used by hundreds of thousands of people daily. It's so extensive that even locals sometimes get lost, navigating through a mix of food courts, boutiques, and corridors that feel like a city within a city. During business hours, the Path pulses with life, offering warmth, convenience, and an entirely different perspective on downtown Toronto. In a bizarre moment of international confusion, Canada was briefly invaded by the United States in 2013, completely by accident. During a training exercise, American troops unknowingly crossed the border into Canadian territory near Quebec. mistaking their location in the dense woods. The incursion was quickly discovered and resolved peacefully, with both nations shrugging off the incident with good humour. The event was a reminder of just how open and friendly the Canada-US border typically is, longest undefended border in the world, and how even military GPS units sometimes need a little recalibration. Thankfully, the only casualties were red faces and confused headlines. In one of the most awkward telecommunications blunders in Canadian history, the Canada Revenue Agency's official helpline once redirected callers to an erotic chat line. For several hours, unsuspecting taxpayers dialing in for assistance were met with sultry voices offering far more than financial advice. The mistake stemmed from a misprinted number on government documents, leading to a flurry of complaints, laughter, and news coverage. While it was quickly corrected, the incident became an unforgettable example of how even a single digit in the wrong place can change the conversation entirely. In hindsight, it was a rare mix of bureaucratic error and unintended entertainment. Among Canada's most charming oddities is a floating post office, the J.W. Westcott II. Operating in the Detroit River near Windsor, Ontario, this vessel delivers mail, yes, real letters and packages directly to ships passing through the Great Lakes. It's the only floating post office in the world with its own postal code, and it's been in service since 1949. Crew members use ropes and buckets to hoist mail aboard moving freighters, all while navigating tight channels and busy shipping lanes. It's a living piece of maritime history that blends nostalgia with necessity, proving that neither rain nor sleet nor open water can stop the Canadian mail. Canada is home to many unique wildlife stories, but perhaps none more amusing than the phenomenon of drunk moose. In rural areas, particularly during autumn, moose are known to feast on overripe fermented apples. The result? Intoxicated animals stumbling through yards, falling over fences, and generally behaving in ways that seem more human than wild. Some towns have had to corral and hold these wayward moose for their own safety, and public safety too. In fact, Canada has designated holding facilities or jails specifically to sober up these apple-raiding mammals before releasing them back into the wild. It's nature's strange overlap with happy hour. For decades, a quiet colony of stray cats lived on Parliament Hill in Ottawa, cared for by a dedicated group of volunteers in what became known as the Parliament Hill Cat Sanctuary. Wooden huts were built among the trees, offering shelter, food and medical care to the feline residents. The cats became beloved by locals, tourists and politicians alike, many of whom visited regularly. Though the sanctuary officially closed in 2013, its legacy remains a heartwarming testament to compassion in the capital city. The cats symbolised a soft corner of Canadian politics, reminding everyone that even in the heart of government, kindness had a home. With a name that sounds like the punchline of a tall tale, Head Smashed in Buffalo Jump is a real place and a UNESCO World Heritage Site located in Alberta. For over 6,000 years, Indigenous peoples used this cliff to hunt bison by driving them over the edge, where they would fall to their deaths, allowing efficient collection of meat and materials. The name comes from a legend about a young man who stood too close to the cliff during a hunt and was crushed by falling buffalo. Today, the site features an award-winning interpretive centre and serves as a profound reminder of Indigenous ingenuity, survival, and tradition. In a marketing stunt that was both comical and Canadian, Tim Hortons once created a colossal roll-up-the-rim cup so large it required a crane to unroll the rim. This oversized replica was designed as part of a publicity campaign for the iconic contest, where customers unroll the rim of their coffee cup to reveal prizes. The cup was so enormous it could have served coffee to a small village, and its rim, when finally rolled up, drew cheers from onlookers. It was a playful and patriotic celebration of a beloved national ritual, where coffee, hope and cardboard meet in glorious anticipation. In several Canadian cities, including parts of Ontario and Quebec, there's a curious bylaw that makes it illegal to whistle in public after 11 p.m. This rule, designed to preserve peace and comfort, might sound oddly specific, but it reflects a commitment to maintaining quiet nighttime environments in residential areas. Meant to prevent disturbances caused by late-night revelers, buskers, or pranksters, these laws are rarely enforced with intensity, but still exist on the books. The idea is simple. After a certain hour, even cheerful tunes can become noise pollution. It's a quaint yet revealing example of how Canadian municipalities value harmony, even down to the sound of a whistle. In 1978, Canada was involved in an extraordinary project that sounded more like science fiction than real-world science. A space cannon under Project HARP, High Altitude Research Project. Originally started in the 1960s in collaboration with the US, the project aimed to fire projectiles into space using a massive gun instead of rockets. The prototype cannon, located in Barbados, was able to launch objects to the edge of space, but the project was eventually scrapped due to shifting political and military priorities. Still, it showed Canada's willingness to think outside the box, way outside, when it came to space exploration. Toronto's history of urban development protests includes a particularly flamboyant episode involving pink plastic flamingos. In the 1980s, activists opposed to rapid and unchecked construction began planting hundreds of the iconic lawn ornaments around threatened neighbourhoods. The move was meant to draw attention to what they saw as the absurdity of replacing historic, livable communities with soulless high-rises. The flamingos became a playful but pointed symbol of resistance, turning the plastic bird into a badge of civic pride and protest. To this day, Toronto residents remember it as one of the more colourful chapters in the city's ongoing debate about growth and preservation. The Royal Canadian Mint once created a coin so valuable and so massive it seemed almost mythical, a $1 million gold coin weighing 100 kilograms, or about 220 pounds. Minted in 2007, the coin was 99.999% pure gold and intended to demonstrate the mint's refining prowess. Only a few were made, and one of them was put on display in a Berlin museum. In a daring heist, thieves managed to steal the coin by breaking in through a window and fleeing with it using a wheelbarrow. Despite extensive investigation, the coin was never recovered, making it both a record-setting masterpiece and the centerpiece of a modern crime mystery. In 1962, a man named Percy Bentham in British Columbia made headlines when he declared his house an independent country, the Republic of Canada. Frustrated with government bureaucracy and seeking to assert personal freedom, Bentham issued his own passport, stamps and currency from his property. While the Canadian government never recognized the declaration, his protest gained attention as a symbol of individual resistance against perceived over. Though short-lived, the Republic of Canada became one of the most colourful footnotes in Canada's political folklore, a DIY nation in a land already known for politeness and peace. In the remote Arctic town of Iqaluit, ordering pizza is a logistical adventure. There are no traditional delivery chains operating in the area, but residents can still indulge in a hot pie, shipped all the way from Ottawa, over 2,000 kilometers away. The pizzas are flash frozen, packaged carefully and flown north via cargo plane. It's a testament to the creative ways Arctic communities stay connected to everyday comforts despite their isolation. The delivery costs may be high, and patience is definitely required, but in a place where temperatures plunge and supply chains stretch thin, a slice of pizza can feel like a luxury from another world. In Davidson, Saskatchewan, you'll find one of Canada's most beloved roadside oddities, a water tower shaped like a giant coffee percolator. Standing tall against the prairie sky, the tower was designed to honour the town's reputation as a perfect halfway point between Regina and Saskatoon, where travellers often stop for a warm cup of coffee. With its whimsical design, complete with a spout and handle, the water tower has become an unofficial symbol of hospitality and small-town charm. It's a local landmark that draws chuckles and Instagram posts alike, proving that even essential infrastructure can have a sense of humour. In a bizarre turn of events, the Canadian Navy once lost a live torpedo and turned to the public for help. During a training exercise off the coast of British Columbia, the torpedo, unarmed but still fully operational, was accidentally dropped into the ocean and quickly disappeared. Realizing its recovery could be time-consuming and costly, the military issued a public appeal asking boaters and coastal residents to keep an eye out for the wayward device. Though the idea of a missing torpedo sounds like a comedy sketch, it was a genuine situation that highlighted both the unpredictability of military exercises and the uniquely Canadian trust in citizen cooperation. Every winter in Quebec, a group of daring Canadians gathers for one of the country's most unusual athletic traditions, ice canoe racing. Held on the icy waters of the St. Lawrence River, the sport involves teams paddling and pushing specially designed canoes across shifting ice floes and frigid waters. Originating from the practical need to cross rivers during the frozen months, the sport has become a celebrated event during Quebec City's Winter Carnival. It's grueling, chaotic, and utterly thrilling, blending endurance, teamwork, and a healthy dose of Canadian grit as athletes navigate a constantly changing landscape of ice and current. Far off the coast of Nova Scotia lies Sable Island, a narrow crescent of sand and solitude where hundreds of wild horses roam freely. Believed to be descendants of shipwreck survivors or early settlers' horses, the animals have lived untamed on the island for centuries. Sable Island is shrouded in fog and surrounded by treacherous waters, earning it the nickname Graveyard of the Atlantic for its history of shipwrecks. Yet, amid this isolation, the horses thrive without human interference, protected by federal law and monitored by researchers. It's a hauntingly beautiful place where nature reigns and time seems to stand still. In 1967, Falcon Lake, Manitoba, became the site of what remains one of the most thoroughly documented and government-backed UFO investigations in the world. Stefan Michalak, an amateur geologist, claimed he encountered a metallic craft that emitted a blast of heat, leaving him with severe burns in a grid-like pattern on his chest. Unlike most UFO reports that fade into rumour, this case gained serious attention from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the Canadian military, and even US authorities. Physical evidence, medical records, and radiation testing made it a cornerstone case in UFO history. To this day, it stands as a remarkable moment when a national government took extraterrestrial claims seriously. New Brunswick's magnetic hill is a marvel that seems to defy the laws of physics. At first glance, cars appear to roll uphill when put in neutral, leaving drivers and passengers baffled. The phenomenon is actually a clever optical illusion caused by the layout of the surrounding landscape, where the horizon and slope lines mislead the eye. Even GPS systems have been known to behave oddly in the area. The illusion is so convincing that it has become one of the province's most popular tourist attractions, complete with signage and a visitor centre. It's a playful reminder of how easily our senses and technology can be deceived. In a stunt that combined backyard creativity and daredevil insanity, a Canadian man once attempted to fly over Alberta in a lawn chair suspended by weather balloons. Known as the lawn chair pilot, he attached dozens of helium-filled balloons to his chair, packing snacks, a parachute, and even a pellet gun to help control altitude. He actually achieved flight and soared thousands of feet into the air before descending and being arrested upon landing. Though the act was illegal and incredibly dangerous, it captured the imagination of the public and became a legendary tale of eccentric ambition and In Charlevoix, Quebec, there's a strange patch of land where gravity seems to play tricks on those who pass through. Known colloquially as the Mystery Hill or Magnetic Hill of Quebec, visitors report feeling lighter on their feet, with uphill walks seeming unusually easy, and some even claim to experience brief moments of vertigo. Scientists chalk it up to an optical illusion created by the area's unusual topography, but locals swear something more mysterious is at work. Whether illusion or anomaly, the sensation has fascinated travellers for generations, offering a rare moment when the world just doesn't feel quite right. Each winter in Winnipeg, an extraordinary transformation takes place. A portion of the city's Assiniboine and Red Rivers freezes solid and becomes the site of the River Trail, a pop-up neighbourhood of sorts built directly on the ice. Featuring skating trails, warming huts designed by international architects, and even pop-up restaurants and art installations, the frozen river becomes a bustling hub of activity. Residents lace up their skates to commute or explore the icy thoroughfare, turning what could be a frigid barrier into a vibrant seasonal community. It's a shining example of how Canadians don't just endure winter, they embrace and reinvent it. At one point in Alberta's legal history, it was actually illegal to paint a wooden ladder. The reason? Painted ladders were thought to conceal cracks, splits, or signs of wear that could cause accidents, especially in agricultural and industrial settings. The law aimed to protect workers from hidden structural weaknesses and to promote regular maintenance. While the law may sound humorous today, it reflects the province's concern for workplace safety long before modern health and safety codes were commonplace. Though the rule has since faded into obscurity, it's a curious example of how even paint can be regulated with purpose. Beneath the quiet fields near Carp, Ontario, lies one of Canada's most secure Cold War secrets, the Diefenbunker. Bunker. Built in the 1950s and named after Prime Minister John Diefenbaker, this underground military base was designed to house government officials in the event of a nuclear attack. The massive 4-story bunker was stocked with supplies, air filtration systems, and communications equipment capable of keeping the country running from underground. Though it was never used for its original purpose, the facility has since been turned into a museum, offering visitors a chilling glimpse into Cold War paranoia and Canada's preparations for doomsday. In Montreal, owning a pet turtle comes with an unusual restriction. It is illegal to keep a turtle under a certain size as a pet. The law is rooted in public health concerns, particularly about salmonella bacteria, which smaller turtles are more likely to carry and which children are more likely to contract through handling. To protect the public, especially kids, the city enforces size regulations, ensuring that turtles sold or kept as pets are large enough to reduce that risk. It's one of those lesser-known laws that reveals how public safety and animal care intersect in the world of urban pet ownership. Every October, Toronto's downtown transforms into a scene straight out of a horror movie thanks to the annual Zombie Walk. Thousands of participants dress up in elaborate undead costumes, complete with fake blood, torn clothing and gory makeup, and shuffle through the streets in eerie procession. The event started as a grassroots gathering of horror fans, but grew into a massive cultural spectacle that attracted people from all over the country. Families, couples, and solo zombies joined the march, proving that even the Walking Dead can have a sense of humour. Though it's been on hiatus in recent years, the Zombie Walk remains a legendary example of Canada's love for quirky, creative community events. In a clever blend of national pride and modern technology, some Canadian embassies house a beer fridge that only opens with a Canadian passport. Designed by Molson, the fridge recognises and scans the passport's chip, unlocking only when an authentic Canadian passport is presented. It's a quirky promotional tool and a subtle symbol of national identity abroad. For travelling Canadians, it's a fun and patriotic surprise. A cold beer waiting for them, thousands of miles from home, accessible only by proving their true north roots. Each winter, the Rideau Canal in Ottawa transforms into the world's longest skating rink, stretching over 7.8 kilometres through the heart of the city. Designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, this frozen waterway becomes a magical winter highway, allowing people to skate to work, school, or just for fun. Lined with warming huts and vendors selling hot chocolate and the iconic transportation route Beaver Tails, it's both a transportation route and a social gathering place. The canal draws thousands of locals and tourists alike, and skating its full length is seen as a quintessential Canadian winter experience, a blend of recreation, heritage, and pure icy joy. In Dawson City, Yukon, there's a phone booth that doesn't make calls, at least not to the living. This peculiar booth contains no actual telephone, but instead holds a guest book labelled For Ghosts. Visitors are invited to write messages to departed loved ones, share spooky encounters, or simply jot down their thoughts in what has become a whimsical, reflective shrine. Nestled in one of Canada's most remote and atmospheric towns, this ghostly installation adds a surreal charm to Dawson City's already rich history of gold rush lore and supernatural tales. It's not just a tourist attraction, it's a poetic nod to memory, mystery, and the thin veil between worlds. Contrary to popular belief, hockey is not Canada's only official national sport. While hockey is indeed the official winter sport, lacrosse holds the title of Canada's official summer sport, and it was actually declared the national sport decades before hockey earned its title. Lacrosse has deep Indigenous roots, originating from First Nations peoples who played it for centuries as both a game and a spiritual tradition. Today, the sport remains a powerful symbol of Canada's cultural blend, celebrating both Indigenous heritage and national pride. It's fast-paced, gritty, and uniquely Canadian, despite hockey often stealing the spotlight. In the heart of Alberta, cowboy culture is not just preserved, it's celebrated with poetic flair. Each year, an annual cowboy poetry gathering brings together ranchers, poets, and storytellers for a contest that honors the art of oral tradition. Participants recite original or classic poems that capture life on the prairie, tales of cattle drives, rodeos, and the quiet wisdom of the range. It's not just about rhyming verses, it's about preserving a way of life, telling stories of grit and humor passed down through generations. The event draws crowds from across the province and beyond, keeping Western heritage alive through words that ride like wind across the open plains. In 2014, a social experiment known as Hitchbot captured hearts around the world, starting right in Canada. The concept was simple but profound: build a robot that could hitchhike across the country, relying entirely on the kindness of strangers. Equipped with a speech module, GPS, and a camera, Hitchbot was designed to hold conversations and log its travels. Canadians embraced the quirky traveller, giving it rides, sharing meals, and documenting its journey on social media. Hitchbot successfully travelled from Halifax to Victoria, showcasing not just Canadian hospitality, but the potential for empathy in human-robot interactions. Though later destroyed in the US, its Canadian journey remains a testament to goodwill and curiosity. Vancouver once rolled out the red carpet for redheads with a celebration known as Ginger Fest. This vibrant event honoured those with fiery locks in all their fiery locked glory, inviting red-haired folks and their fans for a day of music, games, and light-hearted fun. From ginger-themed trivia to carrot-eating contests, the event flipped common teasing stereotypes on their head, turning red hair into a source of pride and celebration. Gingerfest brought together people of all ages, proving that even something as genetically rare as red hair can unite a community in laughter, acceptance, and playful appreciation. At several Canadian universities, students can pursue a degree in the uniquely frosty field of Canadian ice studies. This interdisciplinary program explores ice from scientific, cultural, and environmental perspectives, studying glacial movement, frozen ecosystems, Indigenous knowledge, climate change, and even the physics of hockey rinks. It's not just about cold facts, it's about understanding Canada's deep relationship with ice, both as a natural force and a national identity. From Arctic research stations to urban ice infrastructure, graduates of this field are well equipped to work on everything from policy and engineering to environmental conservation in a country shaped, quite literally, by ice. When construction or restoration takes place at Parliament Hill in Ottawa, most people think of scaffolding and hard hats, but behind the scenes there's a special architectural feature designed for four-legged residents, a literal catwalk. Installed years ago, the narrow wooden planks allow the area's feral or semi-domesticated cats to safely traverse between buildings during noisy construction projects. These feline pathways are part of Parliament Hill's long-standing tradition of kindness toward animals, particularly the once-famous cat sanctuary nearby. The catwalk is more than a convenience, it's a symbol of the unexpected care Canadians embed even in the halls of power. In Newfoundland, visitors are often invited to take part in a uniquely quirky local tradition known as kissing the cod. As part of a larger screech-in ceremony meant to welcome newcomers or mainlanders as honorary Newfoundlanders, participants must kiss a real, often frozen codfish on the lips, recite a few local phrases, and down a shot of Newfoundland's screech rum. It's all in good fun and steeped in the province's seafaring culture, offering a wild, fishy rite of passage into one of Canada's most proudly distinct regional identities. Tourists leave with laughter, certificates, and fishy tales they'll never forget. Canadian law includes a curious detail when it comes to supernatural practices. It is illegal to fraudulently pretend to practice witchcraft, but not to actually practice it. This means that someone who genuinely believes in their spells, rituals, or readings is not breaking the law, but those who knowingly deceive others for money or manipulation while claiming magical abilities can be prosecuted. It's a fine legal distinction that reflects the country's respect for personal belief systems while still protecting citizens from scams. The law stands as one of the more eccentric intersections between legal code and folklore in the Canadian justice system. In an inventive attempt to address climate change, Canada once explored the possibility of breeding bovine flatulence-free cows to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Since cows produce methane, a potent greenhouse gas, through digestion, scientists began researching dietary modifications and genetic traits that could potentially lead to less gassy cattle. The project was part of a broader effort to tackle agricultural contributions to global warming, especially in a country where livestock farming plays a significant economic role. While the idea may sound humorous, the science behind it was serious, highlighting Canada's commitment to innovative environmental solutions, even if it meant reimagining the digestive habits of dairy cows. In the whimsical province of Quebec, a snowman can legally marry you provided the officiant beneath the costume is officially certified. This snowy twist on traditional ceremonies is a popular feature of Quebec's Winter Carnival, where Bonhomme, the festival's iconic snowman mascot, is sometimes enlisted to preside over light-hearted and symbolic wedding ceremonies. While legally binding marriages still require all the formal paperwork and a human officiant with credentials, couples can opt to include Bonhomme in the ceremony for fun. It's a frosty but memorable way to say "I do," celebrating love, tradition, and the province's joyful embrace of winter. Canada's dedication to preserving Indigenous languages is proudly displayed in some of its most everyday features like stop signs. In certain regions, particularly in Nunavut and parts of the Northwest Territories, stop signs are written not just in English and French, but also in Inuktitut or Cree. These multilingual signs serve as powerful symbols of cultural inclusion and linguistic preservation, ensuring that Indigenous languages remain visible and vital. Far from being just a novelty, they reflect Canada's ongoing efforts to honour its commitments to Indigenous communities, blending language, geography and identity into a shared national landscape. In one of the more surreal moments in Canadian politics, a man in Halifax once legally changed his name to Nobody and ran for office using only that name on the ballot. His platform? That nobody should have power, nobody should make decisions for others, and nobody should lie to the public. Surprisingly, his protest candidacy attracted real votes from people disillusioned with traditional politicians. Nobody for mayor became more than just a slogan. It was a commentary on political frustration, civic satire, and the freedom to challenge the system using democracy's own tools. In Canada, even nobody can have a voice. Canada's military history includes a shadowy unit known as the Phantom Regiment, a specialised team of snipers and scouts camouflaged so expertly they seem to vanish into the terrain. Active during World War II, this elite group used advanced concealment techniques including face paint, camouflage netting, and stealth tactics to gather intelligence and neutralise targets. Their presence was often felt but rarely seen, earning them their ghostly nickname. Though little is known about the specifics of their missions, the Phantom Regiment has achieved legendary status in Canadian military lore, proof that sometimes the most effective warriors are the ones you never see coming. Outside the National Gallery of Canada in Ottawa stands an enormous spider sculpture named Maman, a towering work of art by French-American artist Louise Bourgeois. At over 30 feet tall and made of bronze, Maman features long spindly legs and a sack containing marble eggs, symbolizing themes of motherhood, strength, and vulnerability. Though its imposing presence may frighten arachnophobes, the sculpture has become a beloved icon and popular photo. With her legs poised protectively near the museum entrance, Maman seems to both guard and welcome visitors, offering a haunting yet graceful blend of contemporary art and urban legend. At the Toronto Zoo, a fascinating and humorous experiment took place when researchers taught gorillas to recognize selfies. Using touchscreen devices and reward-based learning, gorillas were shown images of people, some strangers, some frequent visitors, and began to show awareness when a photo was of themselves or someone familiar. The project, part of a larger initiative in animal cognition and enrichment, suggested that gorillas possess a deeper level of visual recognition than previously thought. Zoo visitors were tickled by the idea that their selfies could be seen and perhaps judged by intelligent apes. It was a glimpse into the evolving bond between technology, animals, and human curiosity. Canada's culinary creativity knows no bounds, especially when it comes to combining national favourites like poutine and pizza. At several fast food chains and specialty restaurants across the country, you can order poutine-flavoured pizza, a dish that blends gravy, cheese curds, and fries on top of a traditional pizza crust. The result is a gooey, salty, indulgent fusion that perfectly captures the spirit of Canadian comfort food. It's the kind of dish that makes tourists raise their eyebrows and then go back for seconds. Poutine pizza may not be for the faint of heart, but for Canadians, it's a celebration of two beloved guilty pleasures in one slice. In Whitehorse, the capital of Yukon, there's a unique store that still accepts gold nuggets as currency, a nod to the territory's gold rush history. While most customers pay in cash or card, prospectors and adventurous tourists can barter with real gold, weighed and valued on the spot. It's not just a gimmick, it's a functioning piece of economic nostalgia, connecting the modern marketplace with Yukon's rugged, resource-driven past. The store even displays a scale and current gold prices to keep things transparent. In a world dominated by digital payments, this little shop is a glittering reminder that some traditions are too cool to fade. The Yukon Quest, one of the most grueling dog sled races on Earth, pushes competitors to such extremes that hallucinations are not uncommon. Spanning over 1,600 kilometers between Fairbanks, Alaska and Whitehorse, Canada, the race tests mushers and their teams across frozen rivers, steep mountain passes, and temperatures that can plunge below 50 DGC. Sleep-deprived and physically exhausted, racers have reported seeing people who weren't there, hearing phantom voices or mistaking shadows for animals. These hallucinations add to the mental challenge of the race, making victory not just a test of endurance and skill, but of sheer, frozen sanity. In the 1990s, a small town in Ontario, weary from relentless snowfall and biting winters, humorously passed a symbolic ban on snow. While clearly unenforceable, the declaration served as a collective cry of exhaustion from residents tired of shoveling, scraping windshields, and trudging through knee-deep drifts for months on end. The town's cheeky protest gained national attention and became a light-hearted symbol of Canada's often never-ending winter. Though snow continued to fall, the gesture brought a sense of unity and comic relief, allowing Canadians everywhere to share a laugh at the icy grip of their own climate. Each year, as the snow begins to retreat and ice thaws from its long winter hold, Canadians across the country take part in an annual toe-dipping ceremony to welcome summer. Braving the frigid waters of northern lakes, people remove their shoes, roll up their pant legs, and tentatively test the water's edge, usually with shrieks, laughter, and instant regret. It's a playful tradition, equal parts dare and declaration, symbolizing the slow, hopeful transition into warmer months. In a country where summer can feel like a fleeting guest, that first icy splash is more than a chill, it's a rite of passage. In a bizarre yet very Canadian crime story, authorities once issued a warrant for a man who had stolen 30,000 litres of maple syrup. The theft, part of what became known as the Great Canadian Maple Syrup Heist, occurred in Quebec and involved siphoning the syrup from a strategic reserve, yes, Canada actually has one. Valued at millions of dollars, the stolen syrup was resold on the black market. The case played out like a sweet-tasting thriller, complete with secret warehouses, undercover surveillance, and sticky evidence. It highlighted just how seriously Canadians take their national treasure. Maple syrup isn't just breakfast, it's big business. In Newfoundland, moose crossing signs are such a hot commodity among souvenir-seeking tourists and mischievous locals that authorities had to take unusual action, welding them to the ground. The signs, often adorned with the silhouette of a majestic moose, became iconic symbols of Canada's rugged wildlife. Unfortunately, their popularity led to widespread theft, creating safety hazards for drivers on moose-heavy roads. To prevent accidents and protect both humans and animals, transportation crews reinforced the posts with metal and concrete. It's a testament to how even road signs in Canada can become beloved and dangerously collectible national emblems. Under Canadian law, couples can be legally married by proxy even if one partner isn't physically present in the country. This means that a stand-in can represent the absent party during the ceremony, allowing love to triumph over borders, military deployment, or immigration delays. Though relatively rare, proxy marriages are legally recognized under specific conditions, often involving court or military approvals. It's a unique and surprisingly romantic clause in the legal system, affirming that distance doesn't have to stand in the way of commitment. In the land of maple syrup and politeness, even marriage laws bend to the power of love. Beneath the surface of Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, lies a network of tunnels steeped in history and mystery, now preserved through the Moose Jaw Tunnel Tours. These underground passageways were once used by bootleggers during Prohibition, including, according to legend, infamous figures like Al Capone. Today, actors in period costume reenact the clandestine operations, giving visitors a vivid taste of Canada's hidden criminal past. With dim lighting, eerie corridors, and tales of smuggling and secret meetings, the tour feels like stepping into a gangster movie, only set in the Canadian prairies. It's one of the country's most fascinating and unexpected time capsules. The Trans-Canada Highway is an awe-inspiring feat of infrastructure, stretching more than 7,800 kilometers from coast to coast. If laid end-to-end twice, it could circle the entire globe, a testament to both the vastness of Canada and the ambition of its national roadways. The highway links remote outposts to major cities, winds through mountain ranges and prairies, and hugs rugged coastlines. Travelers encounter every imaginable landscape, from the forests of British Columbia to the rocky shores of Newfoundland. More than just a route, the Trans-Canada is a ribbon of unity, culture, and shared national identity, stretching across one of the world's largest countries. Old Quebec City holds the distinction of being the only walled city north of Mexico, with fortified ramparts that date back to the 17th century. This historic district, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, feels like stepping into a European village with its cobblestone streets, stone buildings, and arched gates. The city's defences once protected against invading forces and remain beautifully preserved today, offering scenic walks along the walls and panoramic views of the St. Lawrence River. It's a rare example of colonial military architecture in North America and a vibrant hub of French-Canadian culture, history, and architectural splendour. Canada's national animal, the beaver, once teetered on the brink of extinction, not because of environmental destruction, but because of fashion. During the height of the European fur trade, beaver pelts were prized for making felt hats, a trend that fueled mass hunting across North America. So valuable were the pelts that they became a kind of currency, powering early economies and colonial expansion. By the 19th century, the beaver population had plummeted. Conservation efforts eventually helped restore numbers, and today the beaver is not only alive and well, but honoured as a national symbol of industriousness, resilience, and Canadian heritage. In a bold effort to discourage risky tourism, a town in British Columbia temporarily changed the name of a local hiking trail to Asbestos Creek. The original trail, located near dangerous cliffs, had gained popularity through social media, attracting thrill-seekers to unsafe terrain. Hoping to dampen interest, local officials chose a name that would repel rather than attract, and it worked. Visitor numbers dropped, and the area saw fewer injuries. The strategy was clever, low-cost, and uniquely Canadian, proving that sometimes a well-chosen word can be the best tool in public safety. In the wide-open prairie lands of Saskatchewan, there stands a hotel that defies conventional design, a massive structure shaped like a giant teepee. Towering over 100 feet high and constructed of metal, the building combines indigenous architectural inspiration with bold modern engineering. While it's a functional hotel, complete with amenities and rooms, it also serves as a cultural landmark, drawing travelers curious about its towering presence on the horizon. It symbolizes a blend of tribute and tourism, standing out against the flat skyline like a surreal roadside monument and offering visitors a place to sleep inside something truly iconic and unmistakably Canadian. In Toronto, raccoons have achieved legendary status. They are so common and so bold that residents affectionately refer to them as trash pandas. These masked critters are known for prying open green bins, scaling apartment buildings, and even sauntering through subway stations without a care. Over time, their antics have turned them into unofficial mascots of the city, appearing on street art, local memes, and even merchandise. Toronto's raccoon problem is so notorious that the city launched special raccoon-proof garbage bins, only for the animals to quickly learn how to open them anyway. They are mischievous, adorable, and oddly symbolic of Toronto's urban wilderness. Tucked away in the forests near Ottawa is a castle unlike any other, hand-built over 30 years by a single man named Joseph Cresswell. Without blueprints, formal training, or building permits, he constructed the sprawling stone structure entirely by hand, brick by brick. What began as a backyard project became a multi-towered fortress, complete with arches, spiral staircases, and stained glass. The castle is a testament to obsession, craftsmanship, and solitude, attracting curious visitors and artists inspired by its story. It's not just a home or structure, it's a living sculpture, built slowly over decades with only determination and stone. In the remote wilderness of northern Quebec, geologists made a discovery that rewrote Earth's geological history. The oldest known rocks on the planet, dating back 4.28 billion years. Found in the Nouveau-Adjituc greenstone belt, these ancient formations offer a rare glimpse into the Earth's early crust and the conditions that existed not long after the planet formed. Their age predates most life as we know it and holds vital clues about early planetary development. The find is one of Canada's greatest scientific treasures, quietly buried in its northern shield, holding secrets older than life itself. Churchill, Manitoba, known as the polar bear capital of the world, takes Halloween safety to a new level. Because polar bears often wander into town during the fall, local police and volunteers patrol the streets on Halloween night, armed not with candy, but with bear deterrent spray, flares, and vehicles to ensure trick-or-treaters are safe. The operation is coordinated like a military mission, with bear spotters stationed on rooftops and streets closely monitored. For Churchill's children, dressing as ghosts and superheroes also comes with the real-world thrill of knowing that bears might be just around the corner, making Halloween a uniquely wild event. Cabbagetown, one of Toronto's oldest and most storied neighbourhoods, earned its name not from shops or markets but from cabbages. In the 19th century, poor Irish immigrants living in the area were known for growing cabbage in their front yards, turning every patch of soil into a tiny urban farm. The name stuck, and today Cabbagetown is a vibrant, historic district filled with beautifully preserved Victorian homes, leafy streets, and artistic charm. While the cabbages are long gone, the legacy remains, reminding visitors of the neighbourhood's humble roots and the resourceful spirit that turned gardens into groceries. Alberta is famous for its dinosaur fossils, but one of its most remarkable discoveries wasn't a dinosaur at all. It was the fossil of a snake with legs. This rare and scientifically significant find represents a transitional species, offering direct evidence of evolution from lizards to snakes. With tiny limb-like protrusions still visible, the fossil bridges a crucial gap in paleontology and challenges previous theories about how modern snakes lost their legs. Found in the province's fossil-rich terrain, this legged serpent is a quiet but profound reminder of Canada's place in the story of life on Earth. Sable Island, a remote crescent-shaped sliver of land off the coast of Nova Scotia, is one of the most ecologically sensitive areas in Canada, and it enforces strict access rules to protect its unique wildlife. At times, the island has restricted male visitors to minimise disruptions during key mating seasons for its iconic wild horses and nesting seabirds. These policies are designed to reduce stress and limit human interference, making Sable Island not only mysterious and windswept, but one of the few places in the world where nature, not people, sets the terms for visitation. The ban has intrigued many and helped preserve the island's wild serenity. In New Brunswick, a bridge crossing over the Petit Kodiak River has earned the endearing nickname the Chocolate River Bridge, due to the water's distinct brown colour. The river's sediment-rich waters churn up mud and silt, creating a rich chocolate milk hue that surprises and delights first-time viewers. The nickname is now embraced by locals, adding a bit of sweetness to an otherwise ordinary crossing. It's also a visual reminder of the province's natural quirks, where even a river can look like dessert. Tourists frequently snap photos, unsure if they're witnessing pollution or a Willy Wonka fantasy. The Lake Winnipeg Marathon, held during the coldest months of the year, is officially the world's longest skating marathon on natural ice. Participants lace up and race across vast wind-swept stretches of frozen lake, enduring bitter temperatures, harsh winds, and unpredictable surfaces. Unlike artificial rinks, this natural course presents constant challenges, from cracks and snowdrifts to the sheer mental toll of skating for hours in isolation. It draws elite athletes and passionate amateurs alike, all seeking to test their limits in one of the rawest, most Canadian endurance races ever conceived. It's not just a race, it's a frozen epic. In Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, winter is not just a season, it's a competition. Each year, locals participate in a beloved tradition, the annual beard-growing contest, which spans the entire winter. Starting clean-shaven in the fall, contestants let their beards grow wild through the icy months, culminating in a spring judging where categories include length, style, and overall ruggedness. More than just a humorous pastime, the contest embraces northern culture, celebrating the resourcefulness, resilience, and camaraderie of surviving months of subarctic darkness. Beards become both a fashion statement and a functional defense against the cold, turning facial hair into a badge of seasonal pride. Among Canada's most remarkable amphibians is the Cryptobranchus alleganiensis, a species of giant salamander capable of living over 50 years and growing up to 30 inches long. Found in limited regions of eastern Canada, these aquatic giants prefer cool, clean river habitats and are often referred to as living fossils due to their ancient lineage. Their wrinkled skin, flat bodies, and nocturnal habits make them both mysterious and elusive. Despite their size, they are gentle creatures that spend their lives hiding under rocks and hunting at night. Conservationists closely monitor their numbers, as their sensitivity to pollution and habitat disruption makes them vulnerable in changing environments. In 2011, the Canadian Parliament experienced an unexpected interruption, not from protest or politics, but from a rogue squirrel. The furry saboteur chewed through critical electrical cables outside the parliamentary precinct, causing a temporary blackout that delayed proceedings and briefly shut down key systems. Staff scrambled to restore power, while news of the tiny vandal quickly spread, capturing public amusement. The incident served as a quirky reminder that even in the halls of national governance, nature can quite literally pull the plug. It was one of those moments when a humble rodent managed to stop a nation, at least for a few hours. In the Canadian Museum of Nature in Ottawa, visitors can marvel at a true leviathan, a giant squid weighing over 300 kilograms and stretching several meters long. This colossal creature was discovered floating off the coast of Newfoundland, preserved and displayed as a rare example of deep-sea gigantism. With its massive tentacles and haunting eyes, the squid draws awe and fascination from viewers, offering a glimpse into the mysterious and largely unexplored depths of Canada's Atlantic waters. It's a biological marvel, highlighting Canada's connection to one of the ocean's most elusive and formidable predators. In the vast territory of Nunavut, where traditional roads are often impractical, snowmobiles serve as taxis, and they even have dedicated routes. During the long Arctic winters, these snowmobiles ferry residents across town, to the airport, or between communities, gliding over frozen terrain with ease. Local operators know the landscape intimately, navigating around ice cracks, snowdrifts, and polar bear sightings. It's not only a practical mode of transport, but also a cultural staple, reflecting the adaptability and resilience of Arctic life. In a land of snow and silence, the hum of a snowmobile is the sound of connection and mobility. In Kingston, Ontario, a bronze statue of a goat proudly stands carrying mailbags on its sides. This isn't just a quirky sculpture, it's a tribute to the unsung heroes of wartime, carrier animals. The statue commemorates Sergeant Bill, a goat who served as a mascot during World War I and was known for delivering messages, warning soldiers of incoming shells, and boosting morale. He survived battles and was even awarded medals. The statue stands as a reminder of how even the smallest creatures played vital roles in Canada's military history, blending whimsy with reverence for the sacrifices made during times of war. In Alberta's north, where winter locks down landscapes and lakes become roads, there exists a seasonal job like no other, the Ice Road Monitor. These workers venture out daily to check the integrity of frozen highways that stretch across lakes and rivers, ensuring they remain safe for transport trucks and commuters. Equipped with drills, thermometers, and heavy-duty vehicles, they measure ice thickness, check for dangerous cracks, and sometimes even close routes if the ice becomes unstable. The job is critical and high stakes, ensuring that lifelines to remote communities stay open during the coldest, most treacherous months of the year. In the Yukon, when winter blizzards bury roads and vehicles can't pass through deep snow, some residents turn to a tried-and-true solution: dog sleds. It's not uncommon for people in rural areas to hitch up a team and sled to the nearest general store for groceries and supplies. These sleds are more than a nostalgic nod to history, they're practical, reliable, and environmentally friendly. Powered by eager huskies, grocery runs become silent journeys through frozen forests and across icy trails. It's a daily task transformed into an adventure, blending modern needs with the enduring power of traditional northern ways of life. Deep within British Columbia's old-growth forests, a rare bioluminescent fungus glows with an eerie green light, Panella stypticus, sometimes called foxfire or fairy fire. During World War I, soldiers would attach clumps of the glowing fungus to their uniforms or trenches to provide low-level illumination without drawing enemy fire. The soft light helped them read maps, write letters, or navigate in darkness. Today, the fungus still lights up the woods under the right conditions, enchanting hikers and scientists alike. It's a living lantern from the natural world, with a legacy that glows on through both history and biology. Floating silently through the waters off Canada's coast is one of its most mesmerizing marine residents, a jellyfish that glows electric blue when agitated. Known as Acuria victoria, this jellyfish emits bioluminescent light as a defense mechanism, creating a dazzling spectacle beneath the waves. Its glowing properties have also made it famous in the scientific world. Its green fluorescent protein, GFP, has been used in genetic research around the world, earning a Nobel Prize. Whether lighting up the ocean or advancing medicine, this jellyfish proves that Canada's natural wonders extend from land and ice to the glowing mysteries of the sea. In the coastal town of Tofino, British Columbia, winter is not a time to hibernate indoors, it's storm-watching season. Between November and February, travellers flock to this remote, rain-soaked corner of Vancouver Island to witness nature's raw power as Pacific storms slam into the coastline. Massive waves crash against rugged cliffs, winds howl through ancient forests, and skies churn with dramatic cloudscapes. Resorts and cabins even offer storm-watching packages with panoramic windows, cozy blankets, and hot beverages, so guests can safely enjoy the spectacle. It's a celebration of wild weather, transforming gloomy days into a unique tourist draw where nature takes centre stage. In the heart of Manitoba's prairies, far from any modern ocean, lies a surprising opportunity for paleontologists and tourists alike. You can dig for 90-million-year-old marine fossils. During the Cretaceous period, this land was submerged beneath an inland sea known as the Western Interior Seaway. Today, the remnants of that ancient world remain hidden in limestone deposits, where visitors can unearth ammonites, ancient fish bones, and marine reptiles like mosasaurs. The region is one of North America's fossil hotbeds, turning the flat fields of Manitoba into a prehistoric treasure trove where anyone can brush away the dust of deep time. Surviving in Arctic waters requires more than toughness, it takes biochemical ingenuity. The Arctic cod, a small fish native to Canada's northern seas, produces natural antifreeze proteins that allow it to thrive in sub-zero waters. These proteins bind to ice crystals and prevent them from growing, essentially keeping the fish's blood from freezing solid. This remarkable adaptation makes the Arctic cod a keystone species in the icy food chain, feeding seals, seabirds, and whales. Beyond its ecological importance, this little fish has inspired research into cryopreservation and frost-resistant materials, proving that even the smallest creatures can unlock big scientific ideas. In Newfoundland, Sunday dinner often comes with a side of tradition, especially when it's a hearty serving of Jig's dinner. This beloved local dish features salt meat, usually beef or pork, boiled with root vegetables like turnip, carrot, cabbage, and potatoes, often accompanied by peas pudding steamed in a cloth bag. It's a culinary legacy passed down through generations of Irish settlers, named after a comic strip character who always ate corned beef and cabbage. More than just comfort food, Jig dinner is a cultural event, a symbol of togetherness and Newfoundland's deep ties to its maritime and Irish roots. In the Saguenay region of Quebec, winter doesn't drive people indoors, it brings them out onto the ice. As rivers freeze solid, entire villages of colourful cabins pop up, creating temporary ice fishing communities. These cabins are more than just huts, they're social hubs where families and friends gather to fish through holes in the ice, share meals, and enjoy the quiet magic of frozen landscapes. The ice villages often include roads, community events, and even makeshift hockey rinks. It's a uniquely Quebecois tradition that transforms the coldest months into a season of camaraderie, resilience, and quiet joy on glassy river ice. High above the Capilano River in British Columbia stretches one of Canada's most thrilling attractions, the Capilano Suspension Bridge. Originally constructed in 1889, this iconic crossing was made entirely from hemp rope and cedar planks, suspended 70 meters above the canyon floor. Though it's been reinforced and rebuilt with steel cables over time, the bridge still sways gently as visitors walk across, offering heart-pounding views of the rainforest below. What began as a private project has become a celebrated landmark, drawing thousands of adventure seekers every year to experience the thrill of walking the skies among towering evergreens. During Manitoba's annual Heritage Festival, the spotlight turns not only to culture and tradition, but to the slowest race you'll ever witness. The yearly snail race gathers giggling spectators who cheer on their chosen mollusks as they inch across a designated course. The event is delightfully whimsical, meant more for laughs than competition, but it embodies the spirit of small-town fun. Children decorate snail shells with tiny flags, bets are placed with playful enthusiasm, and patience becomes the name of the game. It's a uniquely Canadian way to celebrate heritage, with a slow crawl and a smile. In the Northwest Territories, summer brings a surreal twist to time, days without night. During peak months, communities above the Arctic Circle experience 24-hour daylight when the sun never sets. This natural phenomenon allows for unusual summer activities, including midnight baseball games played in full sunshine under the eerie glow of a low-hanging sun. Families host barbecues at 2 a.m., kids ride bikes late into the night, and festivals run without regard for clocks. It's a brief, luminous season when time seems to loosen its grip and life flows to the rhythm of the sun, not the hour hand. On Fogo Island off Newfoundland's northeastern coast, a boutique hotel stands perched on stilts at the ocean's edge, its rooms purposefully tilted. This architectural oddity is no mistake. It's designed to mimic the traditional fishing stages and crooked houses built by local outport communities who adapted to uneven, rocky terrain. The off-kilter design is a nod to the resilience and ingenuity of Fogo's early settlers. Inside, the hotel mixes modern luxury with handmade quilts, local art, and sweeping sea views. It's a space where history and modernity blend, tilting gently toward tradition with every thoughtful angle. Every spring in Banff National Park, mountain goats emerge from the alpine slopes with one craving: road salt. After a long winter of mineral deprivation, these goats descend to the highways where vehicles are coated in salt residue used for de-icing. Unbothered by humans, they gather around parked cars and gleefully lick the salty surfaces like candy. Park officials warn visitors not to disturb them, as the goat's mineral feast is essential to their health. It's a surreal, sometimes comical sight, wild animals licking bumpers in one of Canada's most majestic wilderness areas. In the early days of Canada's federal government, the Parliament of Canada employed an official rat catcher. This unique role was established during the 19th century, when Ottawa's government buildings struggled with rodent infestations. The rat catcher's duties involved patrolling the basements and hidden corridors of Parliament Hill with traps and poison, ensuring that politicians and staff could work in a pest-free environment. Though the position has long been phased out due to modern pest control methods, it's a quirky reminder of the government's humble beginnings and the fact that even lawmakers once needed someone on hand to chase rats through the halls of power. In 2013, a Canadian plumbing company released a bizarre yet oddly relatable study. Canadians collectively dropped an estimated 80,000 cell phones into toilets that year. The data was based on service calls and repair reports, highlighting just how common it is for phones to slip from pockets or hands during bathroom visits. The findings sparked a mix of amusement and sympathy across the country, as almost everyone seemed to know someone who had experienced a dreaded splash. Beyond the humour, the statistic was a surprisingly intimate look at modern habits and how our constant attachment to technology sometimes ends with a plunge. In Canada's frigid north, certain species of frogs have developed a jaw-dropping survival trick. They can freeze solid during the winter and come back to life in the spring. Species like the wood frog produce special proteins that act like biological antifreeze, preventing ice from forming inside their cells while allowing their bodies to become encased in ice. During this frozen hibernation, their hearts stop beating and breathing ceases entirely. Yet when temperatures rise, the frogs thaw, revive, and hop away as if nothing happened. It's a natural marvel of adaptation, showcasing just how ingeniously life can persist in Canada's harshest climates. In Victoria, British Columbia, there exists a surprisingly specific law. You cannot carry a wood plank down the sidewalk unless it's being held under your arm. This quirky bylaw was introduced to prevent people from inadvertently swinging or bumping into others with awkwardly carried boards, especially in narrow pedestrian areas. While rarely enforced today, the law reflects a time when urban safety rules were crafted to address highly particular nuisances. It's a piece of civic legislation that feels more like a Monty Python skit than a real law, but it still technically stands as a testament to Canadian orderliness. In the deep, dark waters of British Columbia's Okanagan Lake, legend has it that a serpentine creature named Ogopogo lurks beneath the surface. Stories of this Canadian cryptid date back centuries, originating from indigenous Syilx oral traditions, which described a lake spirit known as Unha'it. Modern sightings describe a long, undulating beast, similar to Scotland's Loch Ness Monster. Though no scientific evidence supports the creature's existence, local enthusiasm endures, with statues, souvenir shops, and annual sightings keeping the myth alive. Whether hoax, misidentification, or hidden truth, Ogopogo remains one of Canada's most enduring mysteries of the deep. In Quebec City, winter transforms more than just landscapes, it reimagines sacred spaces. One historic church is converted each year into an indoor skating rink, inviting visitors to glide beneath stained glass windows and vaulted ceilings. The pews are cleared, the floor is frozen, and soft music echoes through the chilly air, creating a surreal blend of reverence and recreation. It's part of the city's rich winter culture, merging faith, history, and community fun. Skating where congregations once knelt is not just whimsical, it's a celebration of creativity, resilience, and the Canadian spirit of adapting to the cold with grace and imagination. Every year in Leamington, Ontario, Canada's self-proclaimed tomato capital, the town bursts into colour and pageantry for its beloved Tomato Festival. Locals don tomato-themed costumes, from giant red fruit suits to ketchup bottle ensembles, and parade through the streets in celebration of the region's rich agricultural roots. The festival includes tomato-eating contests, themed games, live music, and even a ceremonial crowning of the tomato queen. It's a quirky yet heartfelt tribute to the crop that built the town's economy and identity. In Leamington, tomatoes aren't just food, they're cultural icons, celebrated with joy and plenty of red confetti. Even in the digital age, Canada still employs official lighthouse keepers. These guardians of the coast monitor weather, maintain light systems, and provide emergency assistance in remote areas, especially in regions where automation alone isn't reliable. Found primarily in British Columbia and Newfoundland and Labrador, these keepers live in solitude, often for months at a time, surrounded by nothing but sea and sky. Their presence ensures that fishermen, cargo ships, and travelers can navigate safely. It's one of the last truly analog jobs in a high-tech world, preserving a maritime tradition that has guided vessels through Canada's rugged waters for over a century. In Toronto, a 24-hour vending machine offers a culinary surprise, not candy or soda, but fresh, raw meat. Stocked daily with locally sourced cuts, the machine sells steaks, sausages, ground beef, and even marinated specialties. Designed for convenience and novelty, the meat machine caters to late-night chefs, busy families, and curious foodies. Operated by a local butcher, it combines old-fashioned quality with modern tech, drawing attention not just for its product, but for its bold challenge to the norms of vending culture. It's peak Canadian innovation. Delicious, unexpected, and always open. In Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, there's a museum exhibit dedicated entirely to one of Canada's humblest yet most influential crops, wheat. The display explores everything from the grain's biology to its cultural, economic, and historical significance, showcasing antique threshers, vintage packaging, and even art made from wheat stalks. Visitors learn how wheat helped shape settlement patterns, fed generations, and supported Canada's identity as the breadbasket of the world. It's a surprisingly rich topic for an everyday grain, proving that sometimes the simplest things carry the deepest roots in a nation's history. In the small town of Wawa, Ontario, towering over the Trans-Canada Highway, stands one of Canada's most iconic roadside attractions, the Wawa Goose. Erected in 1960 and replaced with a larger version in 2017, the statue reaches over 8 meters in height and weighs more than 2,200 kilograms. It was originally built to celebrate the completion of the final link in the highway and to give travelers a reason to stop in the remote northern town. Over the years, the goose has become a beloved symbol of Wawa, a beacon for road trippers, and one of the most photographed landmarks in the country's quirky tradition of giant roadside sculptures. On the Bruce Peninsula in Ontario, there's a peculiar place called the Singing Sands, a coastal marshland where the sand literally sings beneath your feet. As visitors walk along the shore, the unique grain structure and dryness of the sand cause it to emit high-pitched squeaks or chirps, creating an eerie, otherworldly soundtrack to a beach stroll. The phenomenon is rare and dependent on specific environmental conditions, but when it happens, it feels like nature is whispering through the dunes. Coupled with its shallow, warm waters and scenic beauty, Singing Sands has become a mystical spot where science and magic meet underfoot. In Dawson City, Yukon, bravery and curiosity combine in one of Canada's most unusual traditions, the Sourdough Cocktail Club. Every summer, daring patrons visit the downtown hotel to partake in a drink that includes one unforgettable garnish, a preserved human toe. Yes, a real mummified toe is dropped into a shot of liquor, and to join the club, the drinker's lips must touch the toe. It began in the 1970s as a dare and has since become a legendary rite of passage for tourists. Despite a few stolen or accidentally swallowed toes over the years, the club endures, proudly serving up Canada's weirdest cocktail, complete with toe rules and certificates of courage. Among the more artistic insects in the animal kingdom, a species of Canadian wasp has found an unusual construction material, chewed up fence paint. These resourceful wasps gnaw on painted wood and mix it with their saliva to build nests with vibrant pastel walls, often in hues of turquoise, pink, lavender, and blue. The result is a multicolored paper nest that looks more like a decorative art piece than a wasp home. This behavior, while a nuisance to property owners, has fascinated entomologists and homeowners alike, as nature repurposes human materials in unexpectedly beautiful ways. In Nova Scotia, summer doesn't just bring warm weather, it rolls in with outhouses on wheels. Communities across the province host outhouse races, where teams decorate portable toilets, mount them on wheels, and race them down local streets with a mix of hilarity and speed. One person rides inside the outhouse, while teammates push with all their might. The races are a highlight of local festivals, often accompanied by costumes, commentary, and roaring laughter. It's a celebration of rural humour, DIY engineering, and Canadian community spirit, where even the humblest building can become the star of the show. While peanut butter is often credited as an American invention, a Canadian actually developed an early version in the 1880s. Marcellus Gilmore Edson of Montreal was the first to patent a process for making peanut paste, which he envisioned as a nutritious food for people who couldn't chew solid food. His method involved milling roasted peanuts into a thick, spreadable consistency. However, American inventors refined and marketed the product more aggressively, leading to the widespread belief that peanut butter was a US creation. Still, Canada's role in this creamy staple remains a proud, if often overlooked, part of culinary history. In Canada's frostiest cities, where winter temperatures plummet and breath crystallizes in the air, communities embrace the chill with frostbite festivals. These annual celebrations include everything from snow sculpting to ice canoe races, but one of the most entertaining traditions is the frozen facial hair competition. Participants let their beards and mustaches freeze into elaborate shapes, often twisting icicles and frost into wild creations. Judges award prizes for creativity, length, and icicle density. These events turn the harsh cold into a reason for joy, showcasing the humour and heartiness of Canadians who refuse to let winter dampen their festive spirit. In 2016, 2 capybaras escaped from the High Park Zoo in Toronto and quickly became the stuff of legend. The large, semi-aquatic rodents eluded capture for weeks, evading zoo staff and captivating the public's imagination. Dubbed Bonnie and Clyde by locals, the capybaras were spotted in ravines, backyards, and underbrush as the city followed their every move like a wildlife thriller. They were eventually recaptured and returned safely to the zoo, but their escape turned them into local celebrities. Today, they remain popular residents, and the park even sells merchandise celebrating their great escape. In Ontario and Quebec, it's still common to find milk packaged not in jugs or cartons, but in plastic bags. Typically sold in sets of 3 smaller bags inside a larger pitcher, this system dates back to the 1960s, when Canada switched to metric and plastic was seen as more efficient and eco-friendly. The bags are poured into a reusable container, snipped at the corner, and stored in the fridge. While this packaging may confuse outsiders, many Canadians swear by its convenience and lower environmental impact. It's a uniquely Canadian kitchen quirk that continues to divide dinner guests and delight dairy traditionalists. Standing proudly in Nakowick, New Brunswick, is the world's largest axe, an immense monument towering over 15 meters tall, with a steel blade and polished wooden handle. Built to honor the town's forestry heritage, the axe weighs over 55 tons and rests beside a giant stump engraved with local history. It's not just a photo opportunity, it's a celebration of Canada's lumber legacy. Visitors marvel at its sheer size and craftsmanship, often walking around its base in awe. As roadside attractions go, it's both striking and symbolic, embodying the strength and resilience of the communities built by the forest. In a remote region of Quebec, an unexpected herd of feral alpacas now roams freely, descendants of animals that escaped a failed farming venture. Originally imported for their soft wool and potential commercial value, the alpacas were left behind when the farm collapsed. Over time, they adapted to the wild, forming small shaggy herds that graze in the forests and meadows far from civilization. Locals occasionally spot the elusive creatures, and their presence has become something of a rural legend. These free-roaming alpacas are a strange and endearing reminder that even well-intentioned agricultural projects can take on lives of their own in the Canadian wilderness. Canadian passports are more than just travel documents, they're works of art, especially under ultraviolet light. When exposed to UV, hidden designs come alive with luminous details. Bursts of fireworks, maple leaves glowing in mid-air, and images of national monuments like the Parliament buildings and Niagara Falls. These features were added both as a security measure and a celebration of Canadian identity. What looks like an ordinary page by daylight transforms into a secret gallery under UV, turning border crossings into moments of surprise and pride. It's a small but powerful reminder that even paperwork in Canada can carry a quiet sense of wonder. In Newfoundland, fog isn't just an occasional weather pattern, it can settle in like a house guest that never leaves. Thanks to the convergence of the cold Labrador Current and the warmer Gulf Stream, dense fog frequently rolls in off the Atlantic and lingers for days or even weeks at a time. Entire towns disappear into a soft grey blanket where visibility drops to mere meters and sound seems to echo strangely. Residents grow used to navigating in near-blind conditions, and the fog becomes part of daily life, clinging to fishing boats, drifting through alleyways, and creating a hauntingly beautiful, dreamlike atmosphere unique to Canada's eastern edge. The town of Enderby in British Columbia holds a cinematic record with pride. It's home to the world's largest drive-in movie screen. Measuring over 18 meters tall and nearly 50 meters wide, the towering screen allows moviegoers to experience blockbusters on a truly grand scale, all from the comfort of their cars. Set against a backdrop of mountains and forest, the drive-in offers a nostalgic yet epic viewing experience that draws families and film buffs from across the province. In an age of streaming and shrinking screens, Enderby's colossal outdoor theatre keeps the magic of movie nights alive, under the stars and in supersize. In certain parts of Canada during cold, clear winter days, a rare optical illusion known as a sundog appears, creating the illusion of three suns in the sky. Caused by the refraction of sunlight through ice crystals in the upper atmosphere, sundogs appear as two bright spots on either side of the sun, often forming a glowing halo. These celestial spectacles are most common in provinces like Alberta and Saskatchewan, where wide skies and freezing temperatures provide ideal conditions. To those who see them, sundogs are awe-inspiring, a visual reminder that even in the bleakest cold, nature offers moments of breathtaking beauty. In Lethbridge, Alberta, a massive steel trestle bridge stretches across the Oldman River Valley, so long and towering that it creates its own microclimate underneath. Known as the Lethbridge Viaduct or high-level bridge, this engineering marvel spans over 1.6 kilometres and stands nearly 100 metres tall. As wind funnels through the valley and around the structure, unique currents form, creating gusty tunnels and even affecting local plant growth below. Birds nest in its nooks, shade-loving vegetation thrives, and hikers feel sudden drops in temperature beneath its shadow. More than just a railway bridge, it's a steel-supported ecosystem carved into the prairie sky. A Canadian teenager once stunned the science world by inventing a flashlight that runs entirely on the heat of her hand. 15-year-old Anne Makosinski from British Columbia developed the device using thermoelectric tiles, which convert temperature differences into electricity. Her innovation required no batteries or external power, making it perfect for use in remote or underdeveloped areas. She showcased the flashlight at international science fairs and gained widespread acclaim for her elegant, sustainable solution. The invention not only illuminated dark spaces, but also shone a spotlight on the brilliance and creativity emerging from Canada's next generation of inventors. The North American wolverine, one of the most elusive and powerful mammals on the continent, finds its last strongholds in Canada's remote and rugged wilderness. These fierce, solitary creatures roam the tundra and boreal forests of the Yukon, Northwest Territories, and northern British Columbia, covering hundreds of kilometers in search of food. Wolverines are known for their strength, tenacity, and ability to survive in some of the harshest conditions on Earth. Though threatened by climate change and habitat loss, Canada's vast, untouched landscapes provide crucial refuge for these mysterious predators, making the country one of their last true sanctuaries. Montreal's distinctive architectural flair owes much to an old fire safety code that required staircases to be built outside of buildings. During the city's rapid expansion in the 19th and early 20th centuries, this unusual mandate aimed to maximize living space and reduce fire hazards in densely populated neighborhoods. The result is a network of winding, ornate metal staircases that snake up the facades of duplexes and triplexes. They've become as much a part of the city's identity as bagels and jazz, offering both charm and utility, and giving Montreal streets a whimsical, almost theatrical aesthetic that feels uniquely alive. On Vancouver Island, it's not uncommon to witness an extraordinary sight: deer swimming between islands. These strong swimmers brave cold waters and ocean currents to forage for food or explore new territory, often travelling impressive distances across narrow channels. Locals and kayakers sometimes spot their heads bobbing through the surf, followed by the clambering splash as they reach a rocky shoreline. This behaviour reflects the adaptability and resilience of British Columbia's black-tailed deer, who navigate the island's fragmented landscape not just by hoof, but by heart and by swim. In Ottawa, whimsical statues of cats wearing boots can be found tucked away in corners of the city, a tribute to a cherished feline named Oscar. Oscar was a cat who lived near Parliament Hill and was known for his friendly nature and regular appearances around the city. Locals and tourists alike grew fond of him, and after his passing, artists and cat lovers commissioned small sculptures in his honour. These playful tributes, part street art and part memorial, symbolise Ottawa's softer side, where even a streetwise feline can become a beloved urban legend. The statues now serve as landmarks in their own right, each one capturing a bit of Oscar's charm. In Newfoundland and Labrador, spring brings not just blooming flowers but towering icebergs drifting serenely past the coastline, a natural spectacle so awe-inspiring it's become a tourist attraction. Known as Iceberg Alley, the stretch along the eastern shore offers prime views of massive chunks of ancient glacier breaking off from Greenland and floating southward. Visitors gather on cliffs, charter boat tours, or even kayak alongside these floating giants, some of which tower like skyscrapers above the sea. Iceberg watching is both a visual wonder and a moment of quiet reverence for nature's immense scale and slow, frozen journeys. In certain parts of Atlantic Canada, especially Newfoundland, you might find an unusual local delicacy on the menu: seal flipper pie. This traditional dish, often served during the spring sealing season, is made from the flippers of seals, slow-cooked until tender and typically baked with root vegetables in a rich, savoury gravy. For many, it's a taste of heritage, connecting modern diners to the province's long-standing sealing and maritime traditions. While it might seem unconventional to outsiders, seal flipper pie is a deeply rooted culinary expression of resilience, coastal life, and respect for every part of the animal in traditional food practices. Off the coast of British Columbia, beneath the ocean's surface, may lie one of the Cold War's most chilling mysteries: a lost nuclear bomb. In 1950, a US military aircraft en route to an Alaska base experienced engine failure and was forced to jettison its payload, reportedly a Mark IV nuclear bomb, into the waters near the coast. Though the device was not armed with a plutonium core, it still contained radioactive materials, and despite search efforts, it was never recovered. The lost nuke has fueled decades of speculation and concern, resting deep in Canada's Pacific waters, as a stark reminder of Cold War tensions and technological risks. In the town of Selkirk, Manitoba, travellers are greeted by an enormous roadside attraction, Chuck the Channel Catfish. Standing over 9 metres long and weighing several tons, this giant fiberglass fish pays tribute to the channel catfish, a prized species in the nearby Red River. Chuck is more than a mascot, he represents the town's rich fishing heritage and love for quirky local pride. Visitors often pose beside him, making Chuck a must-see stop on a prairie road trip. He's one of Canada's many oversized roadside icons, standing tall as a reminder that even fish can be larger than life. Canada has its own official tartan known as the maple leaf tartan, designed in 1964 and recognised nationally as a symbol of Canadian identity. Woven in hues of green, gold, red, and brown, the pattern reflects the colors of the maple leaf as it changes through the seasons: green in summer, gold in early autumn, red in peak fall, and brown at the season's end. The tartan is commonly worn during Canada Day celebrations, citizenship ceremonies, and cultural festivals. It embodies both Scotland's historical influence and Canada's distinctive natural beauty, wrapped together in a timeless pattern that tells the story of the land and its people. In Whitehorse, Yukon, an unconventional morning alarm is as common as a cup of coffee: sled dogs. Many residents still keep teams of dogs for mushing, both for sport and tradition, and these energetic canines tend to greet the dawn with loud, enthusiastic howling. The sound travels through the crisp northern air, becoming an unofficial wake-up call for neighborhood. While city life and sled dogs might seem at odds, in Whitehorse the old and the new blend seamlessly, where dog teams are not just remnants of history but living, breathing parts of daily life, right down to the early morning chorus. Tucked away in Ontario's backcountry is one of Canada's strangest artistic installations, a miniature Stonehenge made entirely out of discarded refrigerators. This quirky monument, known as Fridgehenge, was constructed by an eccentric sculptor who arranged the upright appliances in a circle, mimicking the famous ancient site in England. The fridges stand like white sentinels, weathered by time and nature, offering both humour and unexpected reflection. Part environmental commentary, part surreal roadside attraction, it's a place where modern consumer culture meets ancient reverence, with a cool, Canadian twist. Beneath the bustling streets of downtown Montreal lies a hidden city. Over 33 kilometres of interconnected malls, tunnels, hotels, universities and metro stations form what's officially known as the Réseau. This underground network offers refuge from the city's harsh winters, allowing commuters and shoppers to navigate without ever setting foot outdoors. It's the largest subterranean complex in the world and a marvel of urban planning. Far from being just a tunnel system, it's a fully functional city below the city, complete with restaurants, boutiques, art installations, and constant foot traffic, humming quietly beneath the snow-covered streets above. In Canada's remote winter regions, standard mail trucks often give way to more rugged transportation: snowmobiles. Some postal delivery routes, particularly in parts of the north or in snow-choked rural areas, are navigable only by snow machine when winter hits hard. These routes are handled by specially trained couriers who bundle up against the elements and glide across frozen terrain to deliver letters and packages. It's a testament to Canada's commitment to connectivity, no matter how cold, remote or snowbound the mail must go through. In the chill of Canadian winters, a rare and mesmerizing natural phenomenon known as ice pancakes can appear on rivers and lakes. These circular, disc-like formations occur when small pieces of ice bump against one another in gently turbulent water, gradually smoothing into rounded shapes. As they collide and freeze together, they form a strange, floating mosaic of icy saucers, sometimes with raised rims from repeated collisions. Most commonly seen in places like the North Saskatchewan River or the St. Lawrence, ice pancakes are a fleeting winter wonder that fascinates scientists and photographers alike. They're not only beautiful but serve as yet another testament to Canada's diverse and often whimsical winter landscapes. In Saskatchewan, there's a little town with a big heart, literally. The town of love has become famous for its name, especially around Valentine's Day. Every year, romantics from across the country send their cards and letters to love, just to have them postmarked with the town's unique heart-shaped stamp. The local post office embraces the tradition with charm and pride, carefully hand-stamping each envelope with love, quite literally. What started as a small-town novelty has become a cherished Canadian tradition, making the town of love a symbol of affection, whimsy, and postal romance. Nunavut, Canada's vast and northernmost territory, takes pride in its unique identity, including its license plates. Unlike the rectangular plates seen elsewhere, Nunavuts are shaped like polar bears, complete with a snout, paws, and arched back. Introduced originally when Nunavut was still part of the Northwest Territories, the plate's design was retained after the territory's formation in 1999. These polar bear plates are more than just identifiers. They are symbols of Arctic culture, wildlife, and sovereignty. In a region where roads are few and snowmobiles often outnumber cars, the iconic license plate is a powerful emblem of northern pride and tradition. Canada's national parks are more than scenic getaways. They're vast, living laboratories where the natural world continues to surprise. Spanning millions of square kilometres, some parks are so remote and untouched that researchers are still discovering new species of plants, fungi, and insects. In places like Wood Buffalo National Park or Nahanni National Park Reserve, deep forests and undisturbed wetlands conceal ecosystems that remain largely unexplored. These parks not only protect wildlife and landscapes, but serve as vital sites for biodiversity. Canada's protected areas remind us that, even in the modern age, nature still holds mysteries waiting to be uncovered. Deep in a forested corner of Nova Scotia, a man named Ivan Higgins has been quietly carving Canadian history into wood for over 25 years. Using chainsaws and chisels, he has transformed his backyard into a forest gallery of life-sized wooden statues honouring Canadian legends, figures like Terry Fox, Wayne Gretzky, and Anne of Green Gables. Each sculpture stands among the trees like a sentinel of national pride, weathered by the seasons, yet full of life. Tourists and neighbours visit regularly to admire his evolving outdoor museum. What began as a hobby became a heartfelt tribute to Canadian heritage, crafted one log at a time. Towering over the town of Drumheller, Alberta, the world's largest dinosaur offers visitors a chance to step inside prehistory, literally. Standing at 26 metres tall, this massive Tyrannosaurus Rex statue is over 4 times the height of a real T-Rex and is fully climbable, with an internal staircase leading to a lookout inside its mouth. From the top, guests are rewarded with panoramic views of the Alberta Badlands. Built to celebrate the town's fossil-rich history, this colossal creature has become a quirky landmark, blending education, tourism, and a little bit of Jurassic fun. Canada is home to an extraordinary range of bird life, and its regions boast some of the most colourful and character-rich species. The bright blue jay, with its vibrant plumage and loud calls, is a common sight in the east. The grey jay, affectionately known as the whiskey jack, is curious and bold, often stealing food from campers in the boreal forests. In mountainous areas you might spot the pink-sided junco, a small bird with dusty pink flanks and a rhythmic call. These feathered inhabitants add colour and song to Canada's vast wilderness, serving as both symbols of the seasons and cherished companions to hikers and nature lovers. In Vancouver, a city known for its inclusive and pet-friendly culture, one resident famously attempted to register a skunk as an emotional support animal for use on public transit. The unusual request raised eyebrows and sparked debate over what counts as a support animal and where to draw the line. While the skunk was domesticated and reportedly descented, transit authorities ultimately denied the request. Still, the incident sparked public curiosity, chuckles and conversations about mental health, animal companionship, and the sometimes blurry intersection between affection and urban policy. It was a very Canadian moment of compassion, comedy, and city regulation colliding in one unforgettable story. In a quiet Canadian neighbourhood, one man's childhood dream grew into something truly legendary, a full-sized pirate ship, built entirely in his backyard. Crafted with painstaking detail and outfitted with sails, cannons, and a crow's nest, the ship now serves as a privateer tour venue where guests can climb aboard for local lore, swashbuckling tales, and theatrical adventures. Whether for kids' parties, neighbourhood events, or simple curiosity, the ship has become a symbol of imagination run wild. It's a tribute to Canada's maritime heritage, sure, but also to the enduring spirit of play, craftsmanship, and the idea that your backyard can be anything you want it to be. In the ancient misty rainforests of British Columbia lives one of the rarest bears on Earth, the spirit bear. These elusive creatures are not albinos, but rather a genetic variation of the black bear that results in creamy white fur. Found almost exclusively on the islands of the Great Bear Rainforest, spirit bears hold great spiritual and cultural significance to Indigenous peoples, particularly the Kitasoo/Zaisai First Nation. Spotting one in the wild is a rare and almost mystical experience, as they blend ghost-like into the mossy woods. Their existence is a powerful symbol of biodiversity, balance, and Canada's deep respect for its wild spaces. In certain parts of Ontario, the forests grow so thick and tangled that even modern search and rescue drones struggle to navigate them. The dense canopy of leaves and branches can obscure the forest floor from aerial view, making it incredibly difficult to locate lost hikers or stranded individuals. In places like Algonquin Park or the vast boreal stretches of northern Ontario, the foliage becomes a green maze of shadow and silence. This challenging terrain has led to specialized rescue teams trained for deep woods operations and has highlighted the need for ground-based tracking even in the age of advanced technology. The forest's beauty is undeniable, but so is their potential to disorient and isolate. In Winnipeg, a city well known for its extreme weather, a particularly intense thunderstorm once rolled through that lasted an astonishing 7 hours straight. During the storm, meteorologists recorded over 10,000 lightning strikes, a rare and dramatic event that turned the sky into a flickering light show. The storm's slow movement and sustained energy shocked even seasoned weather watchers, with bolts striking trees, buildings and open fields in a relentless barrage. Residents described the storm as mesmerizing, eerie and even exhausting, as the thunder never seemed to pause. It remains one of the most electrically charged nights in Canadian weather history, a powerful reminder of nature's fury on the prairies. Canada is one of the best places in the world to view the Northern Lights, or Aurora Borealis, thanks to its high latitude and wide stretches of dark, open sky. In regions like Yukon, Nunavut and northern Alberta, the lights can often be seen dancing across the sky in green, pink and violet waves. Even in southern parts of the country, under the right conditions, Canadians can catch glimpses of this spectacular natural display. The lights occur when charged solar particles collide with Earth's atmosphere, creating glowing ribbons of colour. For many, watching the aurora is not just a spectacle, it's a spiritual, humbling experience in the stillness of the night. In Saskatchewan, the past still pulses through copper wires at the Working Museum of Telegraphs in the town of Morse. This unique museum isn't just a collection of dusty artifacts. It's a fully operational tribute to the era of Morse code, where visitors can try sending real messages the old-fashioned way, dot by dot, dash by dash. Staffed by enthusiasts and retired telegraph operators, the museum preserves not only the equipment, but the skill and culture of long-distance communication before the digital age. It's a rare and tactile peek into the world before smartphones, where tapping keys and beeping tones once carried the weight of news, love, and history across the nation. British Columbia's grouse grind is often called Mother Nature's Stairmaster, and with good reason. This relentless mountain trail includes Canada's longest staircase, with over 2,800 individual steps. Rising more than 850 metres in elevation over just under 3 kilometres, the grind draws thousands of hikers each year, who come to test their stamina against the steep climb. Each step winds through thick forest and up rocky inclines, with occasional markers to show just how far or how little you've gone. Reaching the top offers not just breathtaking views of Vancouver, but a satisfying sense of accomplishment. The trail is a rite of passage for fitness buffs and adventure seekers alike. Each summer in Ontario, garlic lovers gather for one of the province's most aromatic events, the Ontario Garlic Festival. Held in various communities, including Toronto and Carp, the festival features farmers, chefs and artists celebrating the pungent bulb in all its glory. From garlic-infused oils and garlicky bread to the infamous garlic-flavoured ice cream, the event is a feast for the senses. Visitors can sample dozens of garlic varieties, watch cooking demos and even compete in breath contest challenges. While it might not be the best place for a first date, it's a paradise for foodies who believe there's no such thing as too much garlic. On Baffin Island in Canada's Arctic, the tradition of igloo building is not just a cultural display, it's an essential life skill taught to children from a young age. Inuit elders pass down the technique of cutting snow blocks, shaping domes, and sealing gaps to ensure warmth in extreme temperatures. These skills aren't just about survival, they're about preserving knowledge, fostering independence, and connecting youth to their ancestral practices. Building an igloo teaches patience, precision, and respect for the environment. Even today, in communities where modern housing exists, the igloo remains a symbol of resilience and the ingenuity of Arctic life. In the Alberta countryside, just outside the town of Mossley, a former grain silo has been transformed into one of Canada's most unique hotel suites. The silo, once used to store grain for local farmers, has been renovated into a cosy, luxurious retreat with circular walls, a skylight view of the stars, and rustic meets modern decor. Staying inside this reimagined farm structure offers guests a taste of prairie life with a twist, where agricultural heritage meets boutique comfort. It's part of a growing trend of repurposing old structures into immersive travel experiences, turning the ordinary into something extraordinary. Tucked in a quiet corner of Quebec, the Charlevoix Railway runs a nostalgic route that's more than just a scenic ride. It's a living piece of 19th century history. The train operates with restored equipment dating back to the 1800s, complete with period-dressed conductors who welcome passengers aboard in authentic uniforms. As it winds along the St. Lawrence River, the train becomes a time machine, evoking the golden era of rail travel, with creaking wooden interiors and the rhythmic clatter of steel wheels. It's not only a ride through breathtaking countryside, but also a moving tribute to Canada's industrial past. Summer in Nunavut is a time of light and of bugs. As temperatures rise, vast swarms of mosquitoes emerge in force, thriving in the region's abundant wetlands and standing water. The insects are so numerous that locals routinely wear head nets, bug jackets, and thick gloves to keep the biting at bay. It's not uncommon to see entire fields shimmering with mosquito clouds. Despite the nuisance, the season is welcomed for its warmth and brightness, and people have adapted with humour and resilience. In true northern fashion, some even joke that the mosquito should be named the unofficial bird of Nunavut.